Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. My special guest for tonight, I think her time, today, my time, is Gia Iwanec, who is a 22-year-old recent graduate from, I didn't ask her how to pronounce the university. Is it Quinnipiac?
Yes, Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac University with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing with a minor in Integrated Advertising and Communications with a concentration in Public Relations. Gia just started her career in June at ADP as an Associate District Manager / CPA Centric Sales Representative. Gia has been competing in pageants since she was just 5 years old, and her childhood dream became a reality this August as she was crowned Miss Connecticut Volunteer. She is excited to make an impact throughout her year of service and get into action with Connecticut. Well, Gia, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I've been following you on social media for months now. So to be here is a truly like a full circle moment. So I'm really excited.
It's always good to meet a stalker, isn't it? You mentioned that you began when you were 5, so you've been doing this for a year or so, right? Yeah.
Yes, 17.
Wow. Okay. How did you get your start? Because I've heard all sorts of stories from mum entered me to my sister entered me to my best friend entered me. How did you get your start at 5?
Well, I'm going to surprise you. My dad actually suggested this idea. I was a competitive dancer. I started dancing at 2 years old, but joined my competition team at 5 years old. And my dance teacher thought it would be a great idea at 5 years old to do my first solo. And obviously, you're on a stage that young all by yourself. So my dad thought it would be a great idea to enter me into it was called the Rising Star Pageant, and it was in my hometown. And it was a preliminary for like the younger generation for the Miss Connecticut under the Miss America organization pageant. So those 4 title holders of the little girls got to be a part of the teen and miss year. And I was 5 years old. It was my first pageant, and they thought it would be a great opportunity for me to gain some stage confidence, meet new people, to prepare me for my dance career. So ever since that 5-year-old little girl took the stage, that's where I fell in love with pageantry. And here we are, full circle at 22 years old. I'm so honored to be Miss Connecticut Volunteer. This has always been the dream, so I'm ready to embark on it.
Do you remember anything about that first pageant? I don't remember much about when I was 5 years old. Can you remember?
I do. I have like a superpower. I remember everything. But the one thing I do remember is my whole entire family being there and supporting me. And my family is big on giving gifts. So I received so many special gifts and prizes after the pageant. So I was so thankful for the support. And still to this day, my family is always in the front row, always traveling with me. So definitely that is what keeps me going at the end of the day is the support of my family.
Are they very loud?
They are. They are. I have a very big, loud personality, so I definitely get that. We always say we're a dysfunctional family, and we put the emphasis on fun and dysfunctional.
I think every family is dysfunctional. It's just a
Yes.
matter of degree. I think
Yes.
that this is the first time I've heard of a dad entering his daughter. Do you know how that happened? Did he have an interest in pageants to begin with? Because very often with dads and partners, I'll be able to see them, recognize them at a pageant because they're the ones who have no idea what's going on. So did your dad have like a passing interest in pageants before he entered you?
No, not at all. My dad and brother are very big on building race cars. So we come from a very competitive family background. My brother's a race car driver. That's his hobby. But my mom also grew up dancing as well at the same studio that I grew up dancing at. So I believe it was just a combined effort. He heard of it. It was always published in our paper. So I think he probably just saw the opportunity and presented it to my mom and then brought it to me. And here we are.
Race car drivers.
Yes, yes.
What
Mhm.
what sort of race cars are we talking about here?
Like 4 second, 5 second race cars. We're like the Fast and Furious family. My brother's like Paul Walker, Vin Diesel. So
Yep.
yeah, we're, we're big into racing.
Okay. So then my next question is, I mean, you already said dysfunctional family, but in a fun way, I should stress,
Yes.
what's a family gathering with you guys like? Because you and your mum dance as pageant girls, so
Mhm.
you probably like being the center of attention. And then you got racer boys who also like being the center of attention, being very loud. What is it
Yes.
like?
And then it's funny, I'll share this with you. My cousin and also godfather is a professional paintball player. So he, yes. So again, we come from that super competitive background. He's actually like insane. There's people that buy his clothes, buy his gear. He's one of a kind too. He spends a lot of time in Texas under X Factor. So a lot of fun facts in our family.
So do you ever have a family gathering and it devolves into a paintball match or a car
No.
race?
No, definitely we bring out the cars, we bring out the quads, and I always love to say that people don't expect like a pageant girl or a dancer to be as adventurous as I am, but I love to say that, what I love so much is supporting my brother, and when it comes to having some fun family time, we'll embrace it all.
Okay, I got a few questions. So first
Yeah,
off, are you a good driver? And secondly, have you paintballed?
never paintballed, but I am a good driver. I'm not the best when it comes to directions, but I will say I'm a good driver.
Okay. I didn't know you could be a professional paintballer. I mean, bear in mind, I come from Australia. Maybe it's a thing in America. When you say professional paintballer, are there like tournaments going on and there's prize money and things like that?
Yes, lots of big prize money, cash, everything. But I've never been to one of his tournaments because they're always in Texas, and with such a busy lifestyle down here in Connecticut, it's a little challenging. But we always tune into the live streams and everything, so we support.
Well, okay. So, I mean, we've gone through your first pageant. You said your superpowers you seem to remember, or I wish I had that superpower. I don't remember anything from like even yesterday. But can you walk us through your pageant journey? So it started at 5, and then what has the journey been like? Have you been competing continuously? Have you taken breaks here and there? What's it been like?
Never took a break once. This has been a continuous journey. When I was 9 years old, I was a national princess at Miss America's Outstanding Teen. And that's where I realized that this was my goal. This was my dream. I was able to develop my personal platform, get into action, happy mind, healthy body at the National Princess Workshop because I knew I wanted to compete as a teen. I love to say that I have a lot of experience in other different pageant systems. I grew up in the Miss America organization, then went over to Connecticut Teen USA. Then I jumped into the High School America organization.
Mhm.
And now here we are at Volunteer America. But I can confidently say that at 5 years old, Miss Volunteer America is exactly what I grew up loving, the organization. I'm sure as you see, like pageantry is changing, organizations are changing over the years. But what I love so much about the Volunteer America organization is that it stands in integrity and it stands in volunteerism. And I believe the greatest gift that you could give is your time. So be able to be a part of an organization that is built on service is exactly what I fell in love with. So I'm honored to be a spokesperson and brand ambassador for the Miss Connecticut Volunteer Organization.
Let's dig into that. So you've already said that you've got a pretty busy lifestyle down in Connecticut, and I agree with you. I think one of the things that really stood out to me with Miss Volunteer America was the honesty and integrity. That's not always a given in any industry, and then also the fact that volunteer was literally in the name, and that there are so many of your fellow state title holders, and even I'm sure people you've competed with have that heart of service, and it's not just done because they've entered a pageant. They've been doing it, well, in your case, God knows how long. But can you give us an idea as to what your platform is, how you volunteer your time, even like what a day in the life of, I shudder almost to ask because I mean, I'm sure it's a pretty packed schedule, but let's start with your platform. What do you advocate for and why are you passionate about it?
Absolutely. My serve initiative is get into action, happy mind, healthy body, and get into action translates to Gia, Gia. So I got
Oh,
to utilize my marketing background and create this at just 13 years old. As a competitive dancer, I firsthand know the importance of taking care of your mind, body, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And I saw my peers not taking care of their body. As a competitive dancer at the ballet bar, you're standing in front of a mirror. So you're constantly looking at yourself and you're wondering, do I fit in? Is my body enough? And that affects you mentally. So I took this into my hands. Now, come full circle, a bunch of years later, I've been able to travel into over 500 classrooms with Get Into Action and my extension Story Time with Gia. In addition, I was able to create my own movement initiative, Do More Today Than You Did Yesterday, which kind of provides the individual with that competitive mindset of what can I do different today that is going to make me better 1%, 10% than I was the day before. I love holding myself accountable with that, waking up every morning. And especially now as Miss Connecticut volunteer, this is a 365-day job and I am in it. I am invested. And the road to Jackson, Tennessee, I just launched my own social media initiative about a month ago since I was crowned. It's my 1-month anniversary. So it's super fun to celebrate that with you. But I launched #impact, capital CT for Connecticut 365, which kind of takes you along the journey of what it's like being Miss Connecticut volunteer, the behind the scenes, the prep, but also the heart of service that I have and bringing Connecticut along with you. Connecticut is a very small state, but I believe that we are mighty. And especially when it comes to the pageant world, we're not a Southern state. And it's my goal. This is the 5th year of Miss Volunteer America is to put Connecticut on the map and really show that, we are a small state, but there's so much to be proud of and so much to promote. Before I was working, I just printed it out. One of my another initiatives is There She Travels, and it's a state map of Connecticut. So I'm dedicated to visiting every town throughout this year with Get Into Action, Story Time with Gia, championing the mission of Miss Volunteer America, St. Jude, the Salvation Army, and just getting into action with Connecticut. I'm super proud of the development and evolution over the years with Get Into Action. I've been able to partner with national organizations like NFL Play 60, the American Heart Association, Special Olympics, and utilize the education from Michelle Obama's nonprofit Partnership for a Healthier America when I'm able to go and visit classrooms. So I'm really excited for the growth, but also there's years to come. Get Into Action is so relevant because our body is a once in a lifetime opportunity and experience to truly breathe in and breathe out. So it's important that we take care of ourselves, both physically and mentally. And that's my goal as Miss Connecticut volunteer.
Can you just bring up that map again? Because I'm completely ignorant when it comes to American geography. So what have we got here? This is a map of Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Right. And how many, that looks like a lot of towns. How many are there?
Oh my goodness. Actually, that's a good question. It looks, I don't know. But it looks like there's a lot. I'll check in on that. But there's some towns on here that I honestly never even heard of before. At the tip, Salisbury, Sharon. I'm all the way down here on the shoreline. So I got ways to go, but I'm dedicated and I'm excited to make that impact.
I think it's not just you. I think very often when we go somewhere else, we go and play tourists, but then we don't know anything about our hometown or our home country. That's obviously going to keep you super busy. And you've spoken about a lot of you're doing a lot. So let me just backtrack for a sec. Why do you do this? Because I'm always interested in why people do it. Because obviously it's not just for a pageant, because you do so much. And so there has to be a reason why you're so passionate about having the heart of service and giving back. And you, with your almost photographic memory, I'm sure you can identify how this all started. Did it start at the age of 5? Was there some point where you looked at someone and they thought, oh my God, they're amazing, and that became a role model for you? Or was it from your family? Why do you do this?
It's exactly that. It's others. It's not for personal gain. It's to have the opportunity to impact so many lives, because that's what makes me feel fulfilled at the end of the day. And throughout this title and throughout the years, what I love is just having that heart of service and allowing myself to share that with others, to kind of create that butterfly effect that if I can do this, so can you. And then hopefully that spreads to the next person. I believe service is so special because you're able to impact and make a difference in one life. And that's exactly what it is. It's for others. It's to see with my own eyes the difference I'm making in someone else's life and touching their heart.
Have there been any particular highlights of all your volunteering thus far? Any particular moments that really stick out with you, or a personal anecdote that you can share with us?
So many. I could really write a book, but if there was this one moment last year. I've been volunteering with the Tommy Fund, the Yale Oncology Pediatric Department, and they always have a holiday party that I've been going to probably for about 8 years now. But last year, this little girl, she is a pediatric cancer survivor. She came up to me and she just stared at me and her eyes lit up. And immediately, I'm such an emotional person, number one. So I started to choke up because I saw, without her saying any words, that she knew that she could have the opportunity to wear my crown and wear my sash. But most importantly, make the difference that I'm making because I'm the one wearing the crown and sash. And I was so excited to put the crown and sash on her head and just see that dream that could be a reality for her. And I know from her parents, because they told me that I was able to make her day. But not only did I make her day, she made my day because I was so inspired by her heart, her story, her survivorship, and most importantly, her strength. At 5 years old, she impacted my life and made me realize that I'm so thankful to be in the shoes that I am today and to have the health and happiness that comes along with life. But that moment was one that I will never forget. And I love to share that story with everyone.
There must have been a lot of tears.
Oh, so many. There are so many tears literally every day. I come from a very emotional family too, but I believe that that's what makes life special. I always look at the little things because the little things, a bunch of little things make the big picture in life. So, yes.
You started this so young. I'm just curious, have you ever been told that, wow, you're too young to be trying to do this? And I say this, I have a good friend who started a nonprofit at the age of 12. And, she started that because she wanted to volunteer, but she was told you're too young to do this. You're too young. You're going to have to wait till you're 18, et cetera, et cetera. So she started her own 501c. Have you ever dealt with that? Like, oh, gee, you're too young, come back later when you're older, got a bit more experience?
Honestly, no. I always wanted to be with the big girls when I was little.
Right.
I looked up to the big girls because they were wearing the crowns, they were wearing the sashes, and they were wearing the pretty dresses. That's what I realized at 5 years old. But year after year, I realized it's not about the crown. It's not about the sash. It's not about the dress. It's about the girl that's wearing all that because they're raising money for a philanthropy. They're raising funds and awareness for their personal platform, and they're committed to service and making an impact. So now, years and years later, I'm in those shoes. So it's a great like progression, and I'm big into our princess program in Connecticut. So I'm really excited. That's part of my marketing plan is to instill those habits and to still instill that lifestyle at a young age because once I know what it feels like. And I remember every single opportunity and experience that I got to be a part of because that's the reason I am here today. That starts with the recruitment process. If we want to establish a strong organization, it starts with the young girls. So I'm proud and excited to work with our Princess program and our organization because I hope that these little girls can have the opportunity and experience that I did.
What's it like to have that full circle moment? And I mean, for you, your pageant journey has been long, but you're still very young. And now you're working with the princesses. It's like now they're looking up to you. You're in the exact they're in the position that you were not that long ago. You must catch yourself every now and then and go, wow, this is kind of odd that you used to be me not that long ago.
Right. Right. I always say time flies, especially when you're having fun. And I just graduated from college, and everybody always said, college flies by. It's 4 years. I'll never get back. And I never believed it. But honestly, time flies by so, so fast. So being able to just cherish every moment. There's been a lot of no's. There's been a lot of almost there, but not quite yet. But I never gave up on myself. I continue to come back stronger, better, and just take every single like corrective criticism comment that I've got and use it as power. This was the dream always, and to finally have it is a reward in itself. So I'm so thankful that all those years led me to where I am today. And it was hard. It was hard. There's a lot of tears.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sweat, determination, hard work, questioning your worth. But I never gave up on myself. And I believe that growing up in a competitive environment is extremely hard. And to always constantly have judges putting scores and comments next to your name and just walking in front of strangers and having them judge you, you never know what that's going to be like. But I always looked at the positive and bright side of everything. A lot of people always call me Sally Sunshine because I always try to find the positive in something. But if it wasn't for all of those years and never giving up on myself and finally sitting here as Miss Connecticut volunteer in front of you, I'm just so proud of myself and truly the journey that I've been on.
Your pageant journey is going on 2 decades. I don't know if you've realized this yourself. Yes. And as you already identified, it's not easy at the best of times. Any competitive pursuit, you lose more often than you win, and I don't
Right.
think that's true anywhere more than in pageantry. What was it that kept you going? I mean, did you ever catch yourself going, okay, this just isn't for me, I'm going to quit, I'm going to have time away? I mean, I'm curious as to what kept you going for close to 20 years.
It was never about chasing a title or just wanting to win. It was simply about the role and responsibility that comes with being a title holder. It's the 365-day job. It's going into your community, making a difference, the networking opportunity and experience. I would never be the woman I am today, the salesperson I am today, or just the daughter or individual if it wasn't for pageantry. I've been able to gain public speaking skills, confidence, learning how to have an interview, talk about myself, talk about a brand, be a spokesperson. So it was always about the journey and just gaining knowledge, gaining resources that could apply to my life. Yes, winning a title is great, and I'm so thankful that I am where I am today, but I simply came back year after year because I loved having the opportunity to just give back.
So what were the first 24 hours or the first 7 days after you got crowned? What was it like? I mean, you must have been excited, you must have been proud, but was it like, oh, now the real hard work begins? Now you started planning? I'm just curious, what was that first sort of short period of time like after you got crowned?
So I don't know if you know this, but I was not crowned at the pageant. I was crowned a few weeks later when I fulfilled the role and responsibility of Miss Connecticut Volunteer. So it definitely was an untraditional crowning. But again,
Yeah.
the dysfunctional
Yeah.
word comes back into my life. But in that moment, the most important people were in the room. It was my family, my friends, the board of directors, the sponsors, and most importantly, the people part of my village that have been on this 17-year journey with me since I was just 5 years old. Remember how I said when I was 5, my biggest memory was watching my family, and just to have them standing right in front of me to be crowned Miss Connecticut Volunteer was a moment that I'll never forget. And I realized that I don't do this for myself. Like I said before, this is strictly to give back and to impact others. So it wasn't 24 hours. It was like a week of getting adjusted with everything. But I'm so honored to, finally have signed the paperwork, wear the crown and sash, and get to work right away.
You mentioned a couple of times marketing and branding. I think you mentioned also being good at sales. And I think it's interesting, for example, the impact, you put the CT, it's capitalized. You've got your name as the acronym for get into action. And I really like that because I think if you're going to help grow an organization, regardless of which pageant or even in your own career, you do have to be good at sales, at branding and marketing and all those things. So has that always been part of you, or is that something you've grown through, your participation in pageantry, or is that part of your formal study at university?
Kind of all of that, I would say.
Yeah.
I love marketing because growing up, I always loved social media. I always loved creating content, and that was kind of like my gift. I worked with a lot of small businesses when I was in college. I actually am the spokesperson for New Haven County Credit Union, which is a local bank in my hometown. I get to shoot all their commercials and promotional material and really just represent the organization and spread brand recognition. And then throughout my collegiate years at Quinnipiac University, I graduated with my bachelor's of science in marketing. And then my sophomore year, I declared a minor in integrated advertising and communications, and then just had to add to it with a concentration in public relations. But also at Quinnipiac, I was vice president for public relations, part of the Student Government Association. So I had the honor to represent 12,600 undergraduate students. And when it comes down to press statements, media pitches, promoting our organization, promoting campus culture and community, that was my job for my senior year. So I understood the importance of being a spokesperson and, dealing with faculty, staff, and administrative. I worked closely with our university president and also my fellow executive board members. So I love marketing. I love communications. I love the advertising part. And that translates into the role of Miss Connecticut Volunteer. You are representing your organization and your personal brand. So I have a marketing plan for my year as Miss Connecticut Volunteer. And I've hit the ground running. Next month, I'll be going on a media tour, reaching all media outlets from newspaper. I'm very old school, so I am so excited to write an article in the newspaper because that's where our older generations, that's where they get their news from. In addition, social media, radio stations, news stations. So I'm super excited to, champion the mission and message of Miss Volunteer America by spreading brand awareness.
I'm just curious, the crossover between marketing and pageantry from your perspective. I think it's hugely important that a title holder is able to help grow the system. I mean, you've got people looking up to you, but you also need to be very comfortable getting the message out and growing the system and marketing. I'm just curious if there are other title holders watching who maybe don't have the background in marketing like you do, or maybe aren't even that comfortable in front of camera, because not everyone is comfortable with social media. That's what I found. What pointers would you give them, or how have you sort of used your marketing background to help really grow your awareness and grow your platform?
I believe it starts with understanding who you are as an individual, because that's where you're able to identify your own personal brand. For me personally, I kind of took a little time to develop myself and my own brand. I believe relatability is key. No matter if you're walking into an elementary school classroom, speaking with state legislation, or going into a rehabilitation center, you have to be able to connect and impact that person's life. I'm big on face-to-face communication. Yes, we are growing in this ever-changing, evolving social media world, but it's so important to be in person, sharing eye contact, sharing a smile, a nice firm handshake. That goes a long way. So when it comes to marketing, especially for a pageant, yourself as a title holder or the organization, I love going into small businesses. Since I was crowned a month ago, I was able to bring on 3 sponsors for our organization. So it's super important that you're able to walk into a room, command the room, share your passion, share your story, and what you're being a spokesperson for. What I love so much about sharing about the Volunteer America organization is that we're built on service, we're built on volunteerism, we're built on gaining scholarship dollars to further young women's education. So it's so awesome to see my passion translate into their eyes, because they're so excited to partner and champion the mission of our organization with their small business or company as well.
That's amazing. You brought on 3 sponsors already, and it's barely been a month. I need to ask you, I get questions all the time about sponsorship and people struggling to gain sponsorship. So I will ask you, how do you approach it? And do you have any advice in terms of that? But I think just from speaking with you, it seems pretty obvious you actually love this part of it. And I think that's a big part of it. It's like, if you actually love getting to talk about what you do, that's kind of like an infectious enthusiasm. Whereas if you don't like doing it and you go, oh, I got to do this rather than I get to do this, I think there's a very different energy. So let's just start with that. Is it fair to say that you love doing this? Because you seem to get really excited about the prospect of going to a potential sponsor and convincing them that, yes, you absolutely have to get on board.
Oh, I love it so much. I wake up so excited every day to do what I do, because I believe it's so much more enjoyable to do something when you love it. And when you've loved it for 17 years, you just wake up so excited to continue to do that. With my role and responsibility as a sales representative, I'm walking into CPAs every single day that I've never met once in my life, but that's my job. And that's what I signed up to do. So I'm someone that pours 110% energy into every single thing that I do, because I believe, number one, you're going to grow as an individual. And number two, I have a job, they have a job. So it's important that we find that partnership and that healthy balance to both drive sales, for me, business, but also the personal connection, and most importantly, trust.
How do you prep yourself when you're going in, whether it's a sale or potential sponsor or any sort of meeting like that? Because nerves is a big thing. A lot of people get nervous in interview. And I think sales, it's kind of funny because it's full circle. Like, you deal with a lot of rejection in sales. Like, you might go through 99 no's before you get one yes. How do you prep before you go into a sponsor meeting or a sales meeting?
So I'll talk about the sales side. So I spend a lot of time in my car, obviously, because I'm traveling across the state into new CPAs. So on my way there, I pump myself up with some music. Definitely. I'm a big fan of Tate McRae right now. So I've been having her on repeat. I'm actually going to see her in Boston in a few months. But I love that I love that energy. I love that thrill. So if that's what's going to get me pumped up, you have to find those little things in life that make it enjoyable. Sometimes I'm driving for an hour or even longer. So to be able to just, sit back, relax, and enjoy the music and get yourself pumped up, absolutely. But then pageant wise, if before I'm going into an interview, I don't like to prep as much. I don't like to, ask myself questions or kind of stress myself out. I like to say I'm kind of relaxed. A lot of people love to be around me because I bring that like calm, cool, collective energy. And an interview, you're just sharing yourself. You're sharing your passion. You're sharing your story. No one else knows you the best but yourself. And you just have to speak and have fun in an interview. So what I do is before I'm walking into the room, I stand proud. I stand tall, chin lifted, with my arms on my hips in my power pose, because that's what allows me to feel confident, to feel empowered, and to just deliver my best self.
We ever see you standing in a corridor by yourself in that pose, that's why. You're not having a moment to yourself. There's preparation going on.
I'm sure if it's a big deal, I probably would be doing that. So definitely.
It's interesting because there was actually research into the effectiveness of that power pose. And for those people watching at home, it's like you stand as like a Superman or a Wonder Woman with your hands on your hips. I think it was like even 30 seconds or a minute. And there's research into sort of the hormonal effect it has, like it boosts testosterone and makes you feel confident at a biochemical level. So that's part of what you do. So before you go into a big meeting, you're out there with your cape on, your chin up, and filling the room with your presence.
I am, yes. It's a great feeling.
That's very cool. Can I go back to, you mentioned that you were a competitive dancer, and I've interviewed multiple dancers, and very often the image, the issue of body image comes up. And I just wanted to ask you, from your perspective, do you feel that has to be part of that sort of industry where it's very competitive, and very often you're looking at yourself in the mirror all the time and going, okay, or you're told by an instructor or a coach, you need to lose weight here, you need to do this. Do you think that needs to be part of the industry because it's so competitive? And if not, like what's a better or kinder way of getting to that level of excellence in dancing without having that sort of negative side effect?
Yeah, it disappoints me that unfortunately dancers look at themselves and they're like, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not skinny enough." But you need to realize that this is a high level performance activity. So being a pencil, like I'll just say it, is not the best. You have to have a strong foundation because you're putting yourself through hours of work. I was a competitive dancer in studio competition life for 15 years. And then when I went to college, I became a D1 athlete, a part of our Quinnipiac dance team. And I saw a major shift in my body because I was in the weight room lifting 30-pound weights. And when I was in competition life, I was lifting 2 weights. So I saw my body change, but I also saw the progression of my strength change as well. Because I was now considered a D1 athlete, my body had to have kind of that shift and change. And my coach knew exactly what she was doing and what she wanted and expected from us and built us. We were committed to not only fueling our bodies, but also fueling our minds. We did a lot of mental, mindful minutes that allowed us to kind of channel our inner competitive mindset. So when we were going to UDA Nationals at ESPN Wide World of Sports alongside the best of the best collegiate teams, we were strong, not only physically, but mentally as well. So I believe that it's not only body image that affects us, it's also our mental capacity and that competitive switch that we really kind of need to tune into, especially as a D1 athlete or a part of like a collegiate dance team, I would say.
How important has the physical fitness been with your mental fitness? Because you seem very, very resilient and very optimistic. How important is the physical side of things sort of contributing to that mental side of things?
I also think back to, if you love what you do, that is proven to help your mind kind of realize what you're doing. What I love to share is that when you're exercising, endorphins are released. So that allows you to be relaxed and to be content in that performance aspect. So if you have a passion and if you have a love for something, it definitely allows the physical side of things to be much more enjoyable.
This might be a difficult question for you, but can you imagine, because you started pageants at the age of 5,
Yes.
can you imagine who you would be if your dad hadn't entered you in that first pageant? It's probably impossible for you, but can you just, like, hypothetical, what would you be like if you hadn't been entered in that first pageant?
I genuinely think that I would have found myself some one way or another in pageantry, as myself. I always grew up watching Miss America and Miss USA, and I just fell in love with, the glitz and the glam of, like, being a woman. I love the feminine side that pageantry brings out in someone, but honestly, I wouldn't put it past you. I might be a race car driver because my dad, when his first car was a Cuda, he built it himself at 16 years old. And he instilled that passion in my brother. I told you, we have a whole garage full of cars and muscle cars. So probably I would have like a pink Mustang or something if I didn't end up in pageantry. But I'm super thankful to be where I am.
Need to ask, given that your family basically is the Fast and Furious, what sort of car do you drive?
I drive a BMW right now.
Okay, all right, that sounds about on cue. Is it really like Fast and Furious? Like, what's the garage like? I'm afraid to ask. Like, are there parts everywhere and the floor's covered in grease?
Yes, so at my house right now, we have 2 show cars in our garage, but then we have a shop a little bit up the road, and there's 3 buildings with garages, and there's about 2 cars in each. And my brother literally just bought another new car last
Wow.
week. So there's a lot going on over here.
Do you ever take one of their cars for a joyride?
No, I do not. I'm lucky I drive my car, and that's the only car I'm driving.
What would happen if you did?
Well, a few years ago, we took a quad out, and I literally almost flipped it, and that's when I scared myself. My mom literally had a mini heart attack, so I decided, listen, I can't even ride a bike, so this is not my strongest suit over here.
What happens if you ride a bike? Do you just fall off?
I do. So when COVID was around a few years ago, I thought it would be a great opportunity to take the bike out and try again because we had so much time on our hands. And for being a dancer, you would think it would be like normal and like easy
Yeah,
to ride a bike because of like coordination and
balance.
balance. Right into the bush at 17 years old. So I was extremely humbled. So one day when I'm a mom, I hope my husband one day will be able to ride a bike because I'm not going to be able to teach my kids how to ride a bike.
I don't understand this anymore. I've interviewed so many dancers, and like all of you are clumsy. I don't
Yes,
understand it. Like, I was
I know.
watching, I shared Miss Mississippi, like Maddie Grace's, she had a
Yes.
video, and there was some dance challenge or something, and she's a ballerina, and she's doing this,
I
plie,
saw
and I'm like, I don't know
that.
how you do that. But
Uh-huh.
then she falls over when she's doing pickleball, and then I interviewed Miss Earth USA, who just walked into a wall, and you
Oh,
said that you ride a bike straight into a bush. What's going on? Like, you have to, I don't
no.
understand this. What's going on?
I think it's because we just focus so much on like our routines and just like straight up technique that we don't allow ourselves any other time for anything else because we're so dedicated to like, perfecting those routines and just, really tuning
Right.
in on some stuff.
Did you do dance for talent?
Yes, I'm a tap dancer.
Perfect. So this is going to be happening at Jackson as well
Yes. Yes. I love to say my tap shoes have taken me all over the world. I got to go to Riesa, Germany for the World Tap Championships, which is basically the dance Olympics. And I came home as a gold medal winner. I
Oh,
competed
wow.
alongside 33 other countries. So to advance quarterfinals, semifinals, and then be on the podium with my hand on my heart, singing our national anthem, looking at our country's flag was a moment I'll never forget. And then a few years after that, I appeared on season 12 of America's Got Talent. And I was also on the cover of NBC for tap dancing as well. So my tap shoes are now taking me to Jackson, Tennessee, and I couldn't be more excited for this journey for my tap shoes as well.
Okay, I need to ask. I didn't know there was gold medals in the mix. So there's a
Yes.
gold medal.
Uh-huh.
You've been competing in pageantry for close to 2 decades. So I shudder to think how many sashes, how many crowns there are. I know some pageant queens like have their crowns and sashes in boxes and a nice display case. do I even want to know how much memorabilia you have?
Oh, it's so funny. So I don't know if you could see behind me, but there's like this opening to a wall. When my brother moved out, we knocked down the wall in between. So right now, technically, I'm in my I'm in my brother's room, and if you go through there, that's my room from years in the past. So now I basically like rule the whole upstairs of our house, and I have a big chest over there full of all of my crowns, medals, trophies, sashes, and I know my dad keeps saying he wants to build like almost like a glass case or something for all the crowns to display them. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It sounds like it would have to be fairly large.
yeah, yeah,
I can only
definitely.
imagine. What are you most looking forward to come Jackson, like June next year? What's the most exciting part for you?
Well, I'm super excited to go to Tennessee. I've always wanted to go. So I'm thankful that I'll get to go in March for the team competition and kind of get my feet wet a little bit. But then come June, I'm so excited to have, the opportunity to just compete for Miss Volunteer America, but be surrounded by like minded young women. I think that's going to be so fun to
Mm.
kind of come all together from all different backgrounds because we all have the same mission at the end of the day. I've been following along on social media, everybody's journeys, and it seems that it's going to be a great time, a great class, and
Yeah.
I'm just really excited to just share my heart and share my story.
Yeah. Now we've talked about a lot of things. So let's just come Jackson in June next year.
Mhm.
Just bullet point for us. What are the main things you've got that you want to achieve? Because you covered so much. And I just want to sort of collate it into a bullet point list so people can go, oh, she's going to do this, 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 and this, because we've covered so many different things. What are the main achievements or the vision that you have for what you've accomplished as Miss Connecticut volunteer come June next year?
Absolutely. So, with my Impact 365 initiative, I'm dedicated to the 365-day journey and 365-day job leading up to Jackson, Tennessee, so that when I'm able to step into my interview, I'm able to share the journey that not only I've been on, but that's the whole point of this initiative is to be present on social media and to have my followers and my following be a part of this journey with me.
Mm.
Again, I always love to look at others and from that perspective so that they feel like they're preparing to go to Jackson, Tennessee, that they're stepping on stage. I believe that I'm not only representing myself and representing Connecticut, but I'm also representing so many different people. So when I step on stage, I'm looking forward to just having that sense of relief, being confident in my ability to perform, being confident in my ability to represent. And like I said, I'm ready to put Connecticut on the map. I believe
Yeah.
that oftentimes Connecticut's overlooked. So and literally last night I sobbed watching Miss America because Miss New York was the first runner up at her competition. And she had a crowning ceremony just a month ago. And to not have that crowning moment is hard. It's hard because it almost is like it doesn't feel real. And it
Yeah.
does feel real. But I sat there bawling my eyes out. Like I said, I'm emotional. And it was clarity for me. And it kind of was my moment to realize,
Mm.
wow, this girl was first runner up in New York and came and competed for Miss America and won the title.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that what's meant for you won't pass you, number one.
Mm.
And number two, that it's all in the hands of the judges. It's
Yeah.
super important that you don't change yourself to kind of fit the mold or, fit the judge's standard or what they're looking for. You have to be yourself. You have to be prepared. And you most importantly have to be confident
Mm.
in what you've accomplished throughout this year. Yes, going to Jackson, Tennessee is awesome and all, but I'm so honored and excited to have the opportunity to just be a leader, be a voice, and be a spokesperson in Connecticut.
Oh, I'm sure you're excited about next year. I just want to ask you, at this stage, when you are working so hard and you're so experienced with pageants, do the nerves really creep in at all? And I ask this, I'll preface this by saying Michael Jordan said, when he was taking the game-winning shot, people asked him, did he get nervous? And he said, no, because I've done everything that I possibly could to
Mhm.
prepare. And once the ball's left my hand, it's kind of not in my hands anymore. It's like, trust God or the universe, whatever you believe in. And you're kind of reminding me of that. It's like you've done so much work and so much prep
Mhm.
and you're so experienced at this point. Do nerves really come into it, or is it just the excitement and I'm here to do a job, I'm working hard, and whatever will be will be?
I believe, honestly, in the moment, I get so, 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 so excited.
Mm,
And then it hits me when I walk into the room. Obviously, the adrenaline rush hits you, but anytime I walk into an interview room, as soon as I step right in the door, I feel so at peace and I feel so
mhm.
capable and ready for the job. This was my first time being a miss. So at my state pageant, I was a little nervous for swimsuit because I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not by your house side pool in a bikini. You're in front of strangers in a bikini.
Yeah.
So that was like a little like, this is something new. But here we go. Like, let's step on stage, let's show my
Yeah.
confidence, and let's rock it. So I wouldn't even say that was nerves. It was just a new opportunity. But
Yeah.
again, as Miss Connecticut Volunteer and as Miss Volunteer America, you have to be ready for anything that comes your way and you have to be adaptable to change. So nerves, I feel like, honestly, like, what are nerves? We have to realize, like, you can overcome them. It's kind of your own self playing like mental games with your own
Yeah.
self. Don't listen to the voices in the back of your head. I've mastered kind of tuning those out because I've grown up in a competitive environment for so long, both academically, competitively as a dancer, and also pageants as well, but also with
Mm.
myself. Like, again, I talked about my movement initiative before, do more today than you did yesterday. But that has made me realize that accountability and having that competitive edge with yourself just
Mm.
allows you to grow and really shows your capability of, tuning out those little voices, tuning out the mental games that come along with pageantry or what people have to say about you. As long as you're confident in your own skin and being your most authentic self, I believe
Yeah.
nerves aren't real. So definitely.
Let me just ask you about growing up in a competitive environment. I was a former tennis coach and I loved competing. I'm a very competitive person by nature. And I always felt that when you're growing up, you need some element of competition, not so that you're overly competitive, but so that you know how to compete, you know how to work hard, but also you got to get comfortable with losing. And you got
Mhm.
to be able to lose with grace. And it's like, okay, there's not winning or losing, there's winning or learning. I'm just curious, from your point of view, how important has growing up in a competitive environment been to your success, in inverted commas, because I'm sure there's more to come, but how important has growing up in a competitive environment been for yourself?
So important. Like I said, I was first runner up at the pageant. And obviously, in
Mm.
that moment, I was like, like, it stings. It stings.
Yeah,
And obviously, you're
yeah,
upset. That's human nature.
yeah.
But as I walked out the door, I was like, what should I do next? And I said to myself, oh, people are gonna think I'm chasing a crown. But no, it was, what can I do next to be better?
Mm,
To be better, because in that moment I wanted to be competitive with myself. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm going to come back next year because I love Miss Volunteer America and the
yeah,
mission so, so much. And I'm thankful that I am where I am today. So I don't have to come back next year. I get to give up my crown next year. But I believe that there have been so many moments in this competitive life journey that I've been, blessed to have great outcomes. But I believe that I've learned so much from those no's. And I don't
yeah.
think of it, I don't think of it as losing. I don't think of it as a failure, because if you're not walking away from something, gaining something, then what's the point? There always has to be a purpose, and there always has to be a plan of action for any competition or experience that you take part in.
Let me fast forward you, if I can, to June next year, and you're interviewing for the role of Miss Volunteer America on a national scale. What's the pitch here from a playful sort of sales point of view? What is the vision here? If you are fortunate enough to have that crown placed on your head as a next step, what are you going to do with it?
Honestly, my role and my goal as Miss Volunteer America is any single individual that I come into contact with, I want to make them feel seen. I want to make them feel heard, and I want them to realize their value in life. I believe being relatable, being authentic, and allowing to share your why, share your passion with anyone from 1 years old to 99 years old. I want to find that purpose and find that passion in every single individual's life. Being Miss Volunteer America is the dream, and is the goal, and I'm excited to have that opportunity to chase that. But yes, we are a spokesperson for the Salvation Army, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and our own Serve initiative. But it's the opportunity to meet so many different people, travel across the country, and connect with others. You have to make everybody feel seen, feel valued, and heard, because that's what an inclusive country means. We live in a country that is, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, what is going on? We are so divided. But it could take one person to truly cultivate change, and I'm ready. And I'm capable of being that person.
How much crying would there be?
I see, and this is, I could cry right now thinking about it, but it stings not to get that moment. And I hope and I pray that my moment will be at Miss Volunteer America, because that moment is something you will never get back. I'm going to cry. But I in that moment, I know all I will want to do is hug my mom and dad, because they've been there for me since the beginning. It's funny because anytime I think of like the pageant dad and pageant mom, when I was 5 years old, they got these pink shirts that said Miss Connecticut Princess's mom, and it said Gia's mom and Gia's dad. And I brought them back out a few years ago because I realized like this not only is a journey for myself, but it's a journey for my parents as well. So that moment will not just be a celebration of myself, but it's a celebration of the 17 years. It's a celebration of the commitment of my parents. And most importantly, it's a win for Connecticut. I hope to have the opportunity to make our state so proud, put our state on the map, and just, I would have to change my social media initiative from Impact 365. I wonder what it would be. But I can't wait to find out, hopefully.
Do you have any tips for makeup in terms of stuff that doesn't run when you cry? Because it sounds like you probably had a lot of experience with this. I was speaking to someone else and she was talking about setting
spray.
She said there was this setting spray that's really hard and she didn't really like it, but because she cries a lot, it's a necessity. So you spray that on and then you can let the tears go and it's all good. Yeah, literally waterproof everything is gonna have to be a must. But hopefully we get to that point. Fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it. Well, I mean, look, you are the queen. I know that not getting the crowning moment stings, because that's what we had the photos of, and everyone has their different crowning faces. A lot of people are embarrassed with like a crying moment or a screaming moment, whatever it is. But you do have the title even without that moment. So I hope you take that on board. Just give us an insight into how you plan your day. You have so much going on, which I got to say is a trait that you have in common with all your state title holders, because you guys are all doing so much. And it's kind of overwhelming when I look at everything you're doing. It's like, I don't know where to start from an interview perspective anyway. How do you organize your day? Right. So definitely this summer was a major life switch, obviously starting a job. I was never a morning person, but I've quickly became a morning person. I wake up around 6:30 every morning, and then I work my 8 to 5. I'm traveling all across the state of Connecticut, obviously as a salesperson into different CPA offices. But I also am a dance educator and dance teacher, so that is part of my week. I also, like I said, I'm a spokesperson for New Haven County Credit Union, so I really take that into consideration, because that is also an opportunity for me to grow and, share my personal brand as well. And then preparing for Miss Volunteer America is a full-time job. Not only, the service work, but also the prep work, so that when I'm able to step on the stage in Jackson, Tennessee, I'm at peace and comfortable with my performance and my delivery. I also love to have, my social time, my friend time, my family time, because you only get one life. And I love to share this with people, and you have to embrace it. You have to have fun. You have to wake up, you have to smile, and, and be yourself. So being able to, hang out with my friends late at night. I go to bed super late. I wake up super early. I'm not sure how I walk into work and my coworkers are like, "How are you a real person?" Like, how are you a real person? Because they see how active I am on social media. I love to post on my story. But honestly, on my personal page, I'm logged into 7 accounts just from being a marketing, public relations, all of the title holder pages, my personal pages. I'm logged into 7 accounts on my Instagram right now. So I love to collaborate and repost and reshare. So everyone
on my personal page is getting what's also on my Miss Connecticut
Yeah.
volunteer page. But I love that because that's my life and that's my lifestyle. So being able to share that is super important. So anywhere I go, people are like, how on earth are you living the life that you are living? And I simply say, honestly, I don't know, but time management is definitely a strength of mine. Staying organized, planning, goal setting is really important because I believe if you always have a goal, there's always a chase. And there's a high level of energy in chasing that dream or goal. And sometimes, we fall short of our goals, but that only kind of encourages myself to get back up and try again, even harder, going back to my movement initiative. So I think it's super important to just, wake up with a purpose and go to bed with a plan.
Yeah. Okay. So you go to bed super late, you wake up super early, so you don't sleep. So I know a lot of American pageant girls anyway swear by their energy drinks, probably too much. So are we doing energy drinks? Are we coffee people, or you just have a natural enthusiasm for life?
I don't drink coffee and I don't do energy drinks. So I don't like chocolate, and I feel like coffee tastes like chocolate to me. So that's why I do not drink coffee, but a Diet Coke at 7 a.m. will do the job for me.
You don't like chocolate?
No, I do not. No. Mm-mm.
Is there any story there, or you're one of the very few people I've interviewed as a woman who doesn't like chocolate?
I know. That's one of my fun facts. I have quite a few that actually make people gasp, but no, I do not like chocolate. I never have. I was allergic to nuts growing up too, so obviously like chocolate and nuts kind of go hand in hand. So I never kind of dabbled in that, but I don't like the taste of it at all. It is way too strong, and not a fan.
Okay, that's probably the weirdest fact I've heard about you the entire interview. I've met very few who fit that boat. But anyway, Gia, I've had you on for a while. So just before we go to the final 10, is there anyone that you want to thank or give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey? I'm sure it'd be your family, but you go for it.
Oh my goodness. So many people, definitely starting with my parents. They are my rock. They are my best friends. I always say my mom is my best friend, and I'm thankful to have so many supportive people in my life. But I wake up every day looking forward to just hanging out and talking with my mom. She's been there for me since the beginning. And my dad is the best provider. He always says, here we go, another bill, another gown, another dress, like what else is new? But I'm truly so thankful to just always have that constant support system to lean on and encourage me to just always be the best Gia that I can be. That's what my parents have been telling me since I was a little girl. But then also my brother. Like I said, it's been hard growing up because we both live such busy, competitive lifestyles. So sometimes we have to divide and conquer. My dad will go with my brother to the racetrack. My mom will go with me to an appearance or a competition. But then also that stems from our grandparents, because my parents wouldn't be the way they are if they didn't get the values and morals that our grandparents kind of instilled and put into place. So it's kind of a trickling effect. But then in addition, I've had so many amazing life coaches and mentors. I don't like to say the word pageant coach because I believe that they are life coaches, because not only are they preparing me, to step on stage at a pageant or step into an interview, they're preparing me for everything that life has to offer. I love to talk about her, and her name is Marla. She's been with me since the beginning. She's known me since I was the 5-year-old little girl competing at a pageant, and she was a former Miss Connecticut. But I look up to her in so many ways. She is a doctor of physical therapy. She is a business owner. She is a mother of 2 amazing little boys, a wife. So I have always said, yes, she's my pageant coach, and I am able to talk and present myself the way that I can today because of her. But she's taught me way more than just, how to answer a question in an interview. She's taught me the importance of, being a spokesperson, being a business owner, and so many amazing traits as a role model and mom. So there have been some amazing, influential people in my life, especially all the girls that I looked up to since I was little. That's honestly who I owe it to, because they instilled that passion, that drive, and most importantly, commitment in me to where I am today. So I'm super thankful to have such an incredible village here in Connecticut. And I hope to have that opportunity to bring my village and share my village with America, because it's truly something special down here in Connecticut.
Absolutely. All right. Let's have some fun. Let's go through these final 10 random questions. Number
Okay.
1, what is your favorite word?
Connecticut. Right now, Connecticut's my favorite word.
What is your least favorite word?
Definitely for all the pageant girlies.
In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
The ability to wake up every day and do what I love to do.
What turns you off?
Negativity, when people are not nice to one another, not cool.
What sound or noise do you love?
Honestly, when I get a phone call, because I'm always excited to see who it is.
What sound or noise do you hate?
My alarm clock in the morning, because I'm not a morning person.
They're both on your phone, right, though?
Yeah,
So
I know,
one.
yeah.
Okay. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
To see into the future.
What job other than your own would you most like to attempt?
So everyone says I look like Topanga from Boy Meets World, and she's actually on Dancing with the Stars right now. Her real name's Danielle Fishel. So honestly, I wouldn't mind playing Topanga in Boy Meets World, but also being on Dancing with the Stars right now would be really cool.
What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Probably being a cop. That's a lot of stress.
I think you're okay with stress. I can certainly understand not wanting to be a cop, but I think you know how to deal with stress.
Yeah, the danger and crime that comes along with it, not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. If heaven exists, final question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would hope to see my guardian angels. Unfortunately, I lost my grandparents on my dad's side and also my grandpa on my mom's side. So I would just love to be reunited with them, because I lost them when I was little. So to have them,
Yeah.
see me as the person I am today would be really cool.
Perfect. Well, Gia, that's about it. Thank you so much for your time and for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Best of luck leading up to the pageant. Can't wait to see you over there. It's how long now? We got like maybe 9 months. It's gonna come up very, very quickly, I think.
Fly by like everything else.
I'd be excited to meet you in person, but I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang out with the audience. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time.